around him every day. He's a tremendous young man, and just pray for recovery. That was tough.
Brian Daboll, Hamlin went into cardiac arrest on Monday night against the Bengals. Jets quarterback Zach Wilson will be a healthy scratch for Sunday's game against the Dolphins, but head coach Robert Saleh says the team is not giving up on Wilson, and they hope to do everything they can to maximize his potential. Wilson has 2 years left on his rookie contract. Iowa forward Patrick McCaffrey will take an indefinite leave of absence from the Hawkeyes to address his mental health. McCaffrey is the son of Iowa coach Fran McCaffrey, and he's the team's third leading scorer this season.
Coming up Thursday, will Aaron Rodgers, yes, that Aaron Rodgers, ever win another Super Bowl? We'll have the answer on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, Thursday, 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
Everybody, happy Wednesday. Welcome in. Justin Kenner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Off and rolling. Mr. Kev Nash, welcome.
What up, dog?
Can't wait we should have an awkward start to the show like Skip Bayless and old Shannon Sharp from today. You know me, I love old drama. I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, yes, this is good stuff.
Oh, gosh, man. He couldn't even let him go an entire minute.
What are you talking about?
Exactly. Exactly. Like, goodness gracious, man. Skip better chill out, man.
Yeah, so, yesterday's show, I was in the minority as far as, like, I didn't think Skip's tweet was as big a deal as what people were making it out to be. But where I check out on Skip is when he doubles down. Like, I feel like all he had to do was come out and say, hey, you know what? Like, that's the way you guys are perceiving that tweet that's not at all what my intentions were. Here's what my intentions were. My apologies. I'm going to take it down just because obviously it bothers him. His problem is he just digs in, and that's where I check out on him. I not defended, I guess, but I guess I was just questioning. I don't get why people are so angry about that tweet. Felt like it was overblown. But this thing is if I ever screw up and tweet something or do something like that agitates that many people, I'm going to just have to come out and say, yeah, my intention wasn't for that. But my bad. And I'm going to take it down and whatever. But he didn't. He just doubled down. It was the most awkward start to a show, but I got a good kick out of it. I love drama.
Yeah, man. I mean, just going back to was a couple weeks ago when they got into it and it seemed very intense, where he was basically saying Shannon Sharp was just a jag of the NFL when Shannon Sharp is in Canton. He's one of the best tight ends ever to play the game, one of the best football players to ever play. I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. So he's just discrediting his career and everything like that. So it is getting kind of awkward, not, the normal back and forth about them screaming at each other or Skip going crazy. Those things are funny. Like, I didn't find what happened today funny. I just found it very awkward that 30 seconds in, like, oh, look, time out. I want to talk now. Like, goodness gracious. And then obviously, like I just talked about with the whole Hall of Fame and you're just a guy. Like, whoa, like those type of things make me feel like, wait a minute, man, is this going to go left? Because all I can think about is like, you remember the video of Jim Rome and
got slapped.
And Everett. And that's all I can think about when those type of things happen. I mean, like, yo, like, you are in the room with a former professional athlete. You see how big these guys are. I mean, we get to hang out with Keith Byers multiple times a week.
I would never.
I mean, whenever I shake Keith's hand, I was like, man, got some mittens on you. No
Imagine that came at you, put a hurting on you.
Balled up or coming at your throat with open hands. Goodness gracious.
Be brutal, that is for sure. But welcome in again, Justin Kenner, Kev Nash.
Time out.
Oh, yeah, see? But, and the thing that, and by the way, Shannon Sharp does a great job, like, as far as, like, he lost his cool, but he never makes it personal back.
Right.
Like, well, Skip tries to really agitate him at times to make it personal. Shannon's like, all right, we're done. We'll just move on. Jenny or whatever her name is, he just tells her to take over. But nonetheless, Yep. But anyways, Justin Kidder, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We get back into more of a normal show today. Again, yesterday, obviously having to make sure you're respectful of balancing, having a sports talk show, but also realizing that, after what transpired at Paycor Stadium the other night, people just weren't in the mood to have your typical sports conversations. I'm not saying that all the issues that existed yesterday and the night before are no longer an issue. They're still there. But I think it's, we can kind of navigate through the murky waters a little bit, and obviously, keep an eye on any updates when it comes to Hamlin, that's for sure. But 518-1410, 518-1410, that's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. I could tell everyone's lively today as the show is officially underway. Justin Smith on Facebook, Kev, he says Steelers about to make the playoffs. He has the prayer hands going. So what is their scenario to make it again?
Beat the Browns and
You're screwed, dude. You're screwed.
This is why I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to beat the Browns on Sunday. They're going to need Buffalo to beat New England. New England has a win in their end situation, but they play the Bills. But this is the one that's going to get me. It's the Dolphins versus the Jets, and I think ultimately the Bills
Who has to win that?
The Jets need to win for the Steelers to get in. So I think Buffalo's going to beat New England. I think the Steelers are going to beat the Browns, but I think the Jets are going to beat. I think the Dolphins are going to beat the Jets and keep them out of the playoffs.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird scenarios. Teams that were, hot at one point of the season playing their worst football. I mean, this is kind of when you get to the point where you're in late December, December heading into January, the contenders and pretenders separate themselves. For instance, the Bengals back-to-back seasons, this is the time where they've started playing their best football. In fact, the Bengals right now they look better right now than at the peak of where they where they peaked last season around this time. The Bengals, a very dangerous team, obviously heading into the playoffs. So, but they're that type of team that gets better as the season goes on. I got to give it to the Dallas Cowboys. That's a team that that's my other team, if you will. But I haven't, and this all season, I haven't given them the benefit of the doubt at all. I haven't been buying in at all. Dak has to stop turning the dang ball over, but the bottom line is that offense looks really, really good, and it's averaging 30 points a game. I've never seen a team look so poor averaging 30 points per game, but that's what they do. It's headlined by that run game. That's why I get frustrated when I watch my other team, the Cleveland Browns, who are a run dominant team, not dominate on the ground the way that the Cowboys do. The Cowboys find that balance. I think anyone out there, you said, do you want Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb, or do you want Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott? I think everyone's going to pick Chubb and obviously, Watson, but Cowboys do it better. And the Browns need to figure that stuff out. We'll get to the Browns coming up later on in the show, but they looked good against Washington, but whatever. The better that they looked against Washington, the more ticked I got, because I'm like, when there's nothing on the line, now you guys are going to start putting it together. Now all of a sudden, Chubb's going to return to those 100+ yards. He won me some money, by the way, so I appreciate that. But, it's the only guy that I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to because of all the time he missed, and he doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt. He doesn't deserve any sympathy or anything like that because he put himself in that situation. But I do like that as each week has gone on, Watson's getting better and better and better. But again, like I said, we'll get to that later. But the Cowboys, prime example, they're playing their best football right now. The Eagles are in that tough spot. I don't know what they're in that tough spot where I'm not saying they peaked early, but right now they're in that, like, you dominated too much because now you're trying to balance the injury with Hurts. At some point, you're trying to pull starters out. If you finish with the 1 seed, you're going to have that first week bye. So they haven't played real football in quite some time. By the time we get to the point where we're in the divisional round of the playoffs, can the Eagles flip that switch and return to where they were a half a month ago, 3 weeks ago? That's a very difficult thing. That's why a lot of teams that have that 1 seed, they get smacked coming right out of that bye week or the bye in the playoffs. I think wild card teams are always your safest bet heading into the playoffs. And, that's except Cincinnati. I hate the Bengals. I can't stand the fans. They irritate the hell out of me. But that offense is freaking insane. It's just when the line's clicking and everyone's healthy, that offense, there's not an offense out there I'll take over that right now. And that ticks me off to say that, but that's where we're at.
So Philly, if they win versus the Giants this week, they lock up the 1 seed. Would you want them to lock up the 1 seed by winning and then getting that week off and getting more time for Lane Johnson and Jalen Hurts to get healthier and risk being even more rusty, or lose and then be playing in wild card weekend?
Well, no one plans to lose, but you're saying to sit guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, because the thing is, we're watching in the AFC, and again, bigger than football, I get that, but we're watching in the AFC right now as everyone's walking on eggshells trying to figure out how do we have legit conversations about how to figure out what to do with that Bills-Bengals game. Yes, something happened in that game that is catastrophic and is bigger than the game itself, but the playoffs are going to happen. The season's moving along and moving on. I'm not saying that in a cold-hearted way, but the reality is at some point the difficult conversations are going to have to be had, and both teams are going to have to defend their side. The Bills are going to have to say, "Hey, this stinks, but like we need this. We need that 1 seed. We need to play this game." And the Bengals, or they could say if they're ahead of the Bengals, the Bills can come out and say, "We don't really need to replay this game." And the Bengals are going to be put in a situation where they're the bad guys if they say, "No, we need to get this game in," because they're fighting for that 1 seed.
Right.
Kev, you either got to go again from a football only perspective. No disrespect to Hamlin, that's for sure, but you have to go at Buffalo. You have to go at Kansas City. I know the Bengals have done it before, but it doesn't mean you want to keep doing it.
Right.
So, anyways, to counter to what your question was, we're watching the AFC where it's so crucial with teams fighting for that 1 seed. It would be weird to say, well, Philly should just ignore the 1 seed and just focus on continuing to play. I don't know. That's a weird thing to balance.
To me, they're not fighting for the 1 seed. To me, they're fighting for the 2 seed, which can be beneficial. You can keep 2 home games as opposed to 1 home game, obviously being the division winner. But I just don't see the Kansas City Chiefs losing to the Vegas Raiders on Saturday. I just don't see it. I think Kansas City's going to lock up the 1 seed on Saturday, and then it'll really all be about division winners. And then obviously the Bills have already locked up the AFC East, and now we got Sunday with the Bengals and Ravens fighting it out for the North, but then you still have that lingering game out there. So it's a lot of question marks about what the league is going to ultimately end up doing. Are they going to push the whole playoffs back a week? What are they going to do? Because you're right, like at some point we're going to have to get this game in to map everything out. So I just don't know. And then you got to think like all the other teams, like they'll be waiting as well, so it's got to be figured out eventually. And those are the tough questions, not only that the commissioner and the office are going to have, but obviously the Cincinnati Bengals and the Buffalo Bills. I'm curious, do the other teams around the league get involved in these conversations as well? Or is it strictly all about the Bengals and the Bills in these talks with the league office?
I mean, most people from the moral standpoint will say it should just be between the Bengals and Bills to decide what to do here, but that's really not how this works. Like people, you can't make up rules as we go, even when unfortunate situations with what happened with Hamlin. This is why I said to start this, like uncomfortable conversations are going to have to be had, and there's going to be teams and people that are forced to look like horrible people saying, hey, we have to make up this game. But we're talking about the mental health side of things. Where are these players going to be ready to play?
Right.
I mean, it's going to put people in position in cold-hearted situations where they have to say, too bad. I mean, I know that sounds horrible. I don't know I know what's right, but what's right doesn't always come through in business decisions. Like that's not just an NFL thing. That's our industry. That's every industry out there. What's right rarely happens. It's what's best for business. What's right and what's best for business are two different things. They rarely overlap. And a lot of time, you know what I mean? Like they rarely overlap. And I think that's what I'm curious to see what the NFL does. Are they going to do what's right, or are they going to do what's best for business? And history tells us, you have 5 minutes to warm up, that they're going to do what's best for business. And I don't think this train's slowing down for anybody.
What do you think is fair? What do you think the fair thing to do is?
What's fair? I have no idea. I know this sounds fun. I think it's silly to move back the entire playoff schedule for one game to get in. But that's what's fair. But then it's not fair to everything else that transpires because of that. I don't know. I sometimes there's not a right or wrong answer to anything. Sometimes it's just and I don't know. I think, obviously make up the game, push the Pro Bowl, get rid of the Pro Bowl, do whatever you got to do to get. I think this game would be way more entertaining than the damn Pro Bowl, to be honest with you. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think what's right and what's best for business, they're not the same. So we'll see. I think the NFL does what's best for them. And I think they do a winning percentage tiebreaker or something along those lines. Like, I don't know if this game gets made up. I think it should be made up, but I don't think it's going to be made up.
I don't think it'll get made up either. But I think what they'll do is similar to what they did when 9/11 happened. Obviously, people remember 9/11. They canceled games that Sunday, and then they didn't have a 2-week bye in between the AFC and NFC championship games and the Super Bowl, and they just basically nixed that and got the games in. So I think that's probably what they're ultimately going to do. I think they're going to play week 18, and then the following week they'll probably play the Bengals and Bills game, and then we'll have our official matchups for the playoffs, and then they'll just run the playoffs as is.
There's some good stuff coming in. By the way, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We are live on Facebook. Everyone has Facebook. Follow the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. That's where you could watch us and hang out with us weekdays from 3 to 6. When you comment and interact with the show, we pull your Facebook profile picture and your comment into the live video. We interact with you that way, or you can give us a call at 457-946-45. No, that's not the number. What the heck's our number? Yeah. 457. I'm losing.
Dude,
518.
It's one of those, like, you say it so much, you
Seriously,
don't
what
remember.
the hell's the number? 518-1410. 457-946. That was the old number.
Now you got me confused. Shaw, give us a call and then tell us what number it is.
518-1410. This is
Yeah.
It's 518-1410. 457. That used to be the old number.
Yeah. 457 is the old.
That just rolled off the tongue like super smooth like it used to. 518-1410. My apologies, folks. 518-1410.
Too many numbers because we just got a new hotline on Hot 1029, and now I'm gonna be messed up tomorrow when I jump on the air over there.
Because that's what we do when things when things don't work, we don't fix it. We just get something new. I don't know. And even the new half the time don't work. What? New Year, say me. I don't care.
Yeah. We're only 4 days into the new year, man. Relax.
So some good stuff coming in the chat section over here on the live Facebook feed. An interesting point from Damon Hahn. He goes, I think they will not play if the Chiefs win. And that's a great point, because if the Chiefs win on Sunday, they're the 1 seed. Right?
Right.
But
it's still
the
be
Bengals
fighting
beat
for
the Chiefs. What's the hold on? I gotta pull this up.
The Bengals are 11-4, I think. And then but the Chiefs are 12-3.
So if they win, they got that 1 seed, but the Bills beat them. What's the Bills record off the top of your head? If you know?
12 Chiefs 13-3, Bills 12-3, Bengals 11-4.
So Damon's right. If the Chiefs lose, they probably have to find a way to force that game in. If the Bengals,
right, because the Bills beat the Chiefs as well as the Bengals.
So then it would be Bengals Bills for the 1 seed basically at that point, because Damon, great point. Appreciate that, because that's valid. I mean, if the Chiefs win Sunday, I mean, does the battle for second place really matter at this point? That's where you can kind of justify doing the win percentage in the conference and all that stuff for other justifiable tiebreakers, as far as that's concerned. But that's also not Damon. There's also other concerns about they have games this weekend.
Right.
The Bengals have the Ravens in what is not just a game for the 1 seed. It's a game to win the AFC North. So that's, they're in the playoffs. There's a lot of things, we talked about the Eagles. They're in the playoffs. Do you just kind of fold it and all this stuff and try to get healthy heading in? Well, do the Bengals just say, you know what, we don't forget the division, forget that we're in the playoffs. That's all that matters at this point. Those are the tough decisions that have to be made. But yes, as far as the 1 seed goes, that may not be a factor if the Chiefs win, as far as being a motivating factor to force that game in, if that's the case.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Good stuff, Damon. Appreciate that. That's why Daniel, I keep calling him Daniel Snyder. It's the most disrespectful name change ever. Dennis Snyder. My apologies, dude. He goes, in regards to scheduling the game, what's the hurry? I don't think there's a hurry, but I think how we are. Fans are. They want to know the plan. They want to know what's happening.
I'm sure that the coaches and the players want to know the plan too, especially from the Cincinnati Bengals standpoint. So what are we doing here?
Picasso on Facebook, I guess that's his name. He goes, you can't make them play. Okay.
I don't even know what to say to that.
He goes,
can you elaborate?
He goes, to be fair, I read that one. That was his follow-up. So he says they could replay the game, but what if the players don't? Then what? So what you're saying, okay, my fault, Picasso. Why do people do this? His name is Picasso on Facebook.
I like it.
But I feel like it. It's like some guy that, I finally had to get rid of him off the page. I liked it, but he got a little too mouthy and a little dropping some words you can't. He went on Shaw on me the other day. Shaw came back after a month timeout, though. But Picasso on Facebook says they could replay the game, but what if the players don't? Then what? He goes, you can't make them play. So that now that comment makes sense. Like, okay, the league could say, hey, makeup game this time, this date, this time, Paycor Stadium, be there. And the players and coaches and the teams are like, nah. And by the way, that's basically what happened. I mean, we talked to Jay Morrison, who came on the show yesterday, covers the Bengals for The Athletic. He was at Paycor Stadium. He said straight up, he didn't really buy what the NFL was trying to sell, as far as they never said put 5 minutes on the clock to warm up to start the game. It was basically Zach Taylor in his press conference earlier. He was asked about, and I'll pull the audio and have that for you coming up here later in the show. But he said when him and McDermott kind of met at the half field or at the midfield line, both of them had the conversation of, he goes, I need to be at the hospital with Hamlin. Like that's, but, and that's when Zach Taylor said, yeah, that's where you need to be. We're not playing this game. And they both made that decision. So it sounded like Zach Taylor, it sounded like the Bills Bengals made that decision. So it may not be up to the NFL. It really, I mean, these two coaches, these two organizations can both say, yeah, that's great that you have a date and all, but we ain't gonna be there. We ain't gonna make it. Like, this is a very interesting time.
We'll definitely. I know a lot of people out there, or not a lot of people. I did hear some talk about, like, well, if they don't play this game, you have stats and records at stake and yada, yada, yada. At just some point, like, some of that stuff just doesn't really matter. We're in the last weeks of the regular season. And like you said, if Kansas City wins, they lock up the 1 seed. And if the Buffalo Bills get the 2 seed, and then it ultimately shows down that the Bengals and Bills have to play in the playoffs, and the Bengals have to go to Buffalo, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
David Hockman, he says the 2 seed is important for home field until the AFC Championship. I get that, but at a certain point, these teams are going to be they already made a sacrifice the other night and just said, hey, it's not really a sacrifice. They just said, hey, football's not important right now. Football doesn't even feel important to these guys even now. Right. They may not feel comfortable with them in a week, but at some point they're going to have to make a decision on, do you play during that uncomfortableness, if you will, or do you use that uncomfortableness to say, hey, we're not doing anything. This very fascinated by how this is going to play out, because this isn't the NFL is forcing you or making you, or they could tell you, but like our guy Picasso on Facebook here said, they can't make them play. They could tell them what time they gave. They can't make them play.
They can suggest all they want.
That's for sure. Hold on. So Zachariah Ganya, I guess. I hope that's how you pronounce your name. He goes, not true. If the Bills were to beat the Bengals and the Patriots, and the Chiefs beat the Raiders, both teams end with the same record, and the Bills own the tiebreaker over the Chiefs and would be the 1 seed.
That's right. Because I keep looking at 12-3, but they didn't play.
Because we just assumed we gave both teams a win. We gave, the Bills, right. We gave both of them a win on accident, as far as that assumption. Zachariah, good stuff. Appreciate that. I always love a good fact checker. They're going to have to play. I mean that. Like that, these guys, our listeners are producers. That's what I appreciate. But yeah, they're going to have to play.
I mean, at some point, they're going to have to play. It's just a matter of when, I guess. It's just a matter of when and how they're going to get in, because they're going to be inconvenienced. They're going to be inconvenienced. I mean, teams were inconvenienced left and right with COVID. I mean, think about the Ravens when they played 3 games in 12 days. Like, that was crazy. They were inconvenienced. They played. It is what it is. And just like this, there's going to be inconvenience to not only the Bengals, but the Bills as well. And the question mark is, do you inconvenience the rest of the league as well?
Let's go to Nick. Nick, how are you, sir?
Been off so much you forgot the phone number, man. What's up with that?
I mean, that's probably what it was. Well, then I got afraid because I thought I gave my cell number. Because when I said 457-9464, that was the old Wing hotline number.
It was.
But then I panicked because I'm like, oh, crap, did I just give my cell phone out over the radio? But, that would be the perk to having no listeners, is I wouldn't have to worry as much. So there you go. But no, Nick, what's up, man?
No, I was going to bring up the point that just because Kansas City won, that the Bills were the number 1 seed going into this week before they didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
So to say that they win Saturday, they're the 1 seed is not a correct statement, because both Buffalo and Cincinnati technically own tiebreakers over KC. The Bengals do have one more loss than they did, but if they beat Buffalo, then obviously you're rooting for Raiders on the Saturday. But that didn't happen, so that's where we're at now.
So real quick, Nick, this just came out about 10 minutes ago. The Bengals Facebook page, they just basically solidified they are going to play on Sunday. We will be playing the Ravens on Sunday at 1 p.m. on CBS. No.
So, and that's interesting because all accounts were if the Bengals lost, that game was going to be at 425, right? So for the AFC North. Now my question is, because there's been a lot of talk, right? They call it a tie. If they call it a tie, then the Bengals are the AFC North champs. So that's interesting to see.
Is that the talk out there?
What's that?
Is that the conversation out there that the league may call it a tie?
So there was three options that I heard because one of the Buffalo reporters were kind of laying out the scenarios on Twitter, and it was no contest, a tie, and then just to play the game. Like you've been talking about, play the game the week after and push everything back and lose the bye week between the championship games and Super Bowl. So I don't know how much was talked about, but those were the three scenarios that they laid out. And the scenarios laid out for were basically that if it was a tie, Buffalo would end up the 2 seed, Cincinnati the 3 because they'd win the AFC North, and so forth. I know contest, they would have to go to like winning percentages, I believe it was, to account for seeding.
Yeah, they got to do no contest then. That'll be more fair than giving them a tie, right?
Well, the only problem is because with the extra game, if you look at the winning percentage, Kansas City would then be the 1 seed and Buffalo wouldn't be. So you lose the tiebreaker or the head-to-head there. So there's some questions around that, how do you handle that if they do meet in the AFC Championship game? But this is because of the game and the magnitude of the teams and how good they were for that situation. It has really put a strain on what, like Justin said, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. There's just going to have to be something that's done, and we're going to have to, live with it at that point in time, right?
Sounds like they're playing.
What, the makeup game?
Yeah, it sounds like they're going to have to play.
And maybe it's I
will say this from everything else I was reading, it sounds like the players do not want to replay this game. So,
well, the thing that makes it weird is by the way, what was the timing of which? So this game kicked off at 8:30. This happened about an hour later. So were we in the second quarter? I don't even remember.
No,
there was 5:56 left in the first quarter.
That's right. Both teams had it was one possession each. The Bengals marched down the field, scored the touchdown. The Bills obviously ended up getting the field goal, and then that was the Bengals were on their second drive when this went down.
Yeah, and they were moving the ball down the field again.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, you start. Someone asked, I think Ronaldo. Shout out to Ronaldo.
What up, man?
On Facebook, he just in the comment section, he just said, "I have a question. If the Bengals versus Bills have to replay, do they start the game from where they stop, or do they start it all over?" I would believe they would just pick up from where they would left off, which would be such a weird dynamic as well. But nothing's normal about how any of this has gone down.
Yeah, and again, so. Obviously not trying to, but you read the rule book, technically the commissioner can say that it starts as a brand new game.
Bills would like that. Bengals wouldn't, but
right.
Nonetheless, and again, for those tuning in, not being, we're being sympathetic to what went down at Paycor Stadium the other night, but these conversations we're having now, they're real. And by the way, if you think if it's disrespectful to have these conversations, what do you think? What conversations do you think are having behind closed doors with NFL executives and everyone else and all the fans who are criticizing this? They're having the same conversations with their friends at home too. So that's all. I always point that out.
I think it was interesting, right? Because they didn't really talk about it until I think the other day. Like this happened in '97. Like Keyshawn Johnson brought it up, right? They had to perform CPR on a Detroit Lion player, and they played the game. So, they turned around and played that game, 5-minute warm-up, and they played after a player was given CPR on the field that same, time. So, it's interesting. Obviously, the players, the coaches obviously did the right thing. And you're right. We're still, you want to be respectful, but this conversation, unfortunately, is going to have to be had, like you said. And you're not doing it. And I think most players, you would hear that the player would want you to go on and play. Most people would, and I think Ryan Clark even kind of talked about that the other day after the initial thought, right, is that players would say, strap it up, go win this game for me, right? So, I don't know. It's a lot of emotion to go through.
So, hey, Nick, appreciate you. You were wrong the other day about the Big Ten and SEC, and I'm hanging up so you can't respond. Okay. So, Richard Boyd said, didn't the Reds play the day after McSherry died? And that's something that was brought up yesterday when we had Jay Morrison on. He said, Jay Morrison covers the Bengals for The Athletic. and he was there, and he talked about in an eerie, situation he was in as a fan watching the Reds back when the umpire, had fainted and passed away. They did play. Now, they said, basically with that situation that happened there, both the managers kind of came together, very similar to the Bills coach and the Bengals coach coming together. Major League Baseball didn't make the decision. Marge Schott didn't make the decision back then, when she was the owner of the Reds. This was the managers at the time made the decision, saying that umpire would have wanted that. And that goes to what, Nick was just saying as well. And that's what I was waiting for. One of them, you get those cheesy things all the time. No, we're going to keep playing. Hamlin would have wanted us to keep playing. Like, I was waiting for some kind of cheesy thing to come out. Like, because if that game would have continued, the cheesy excuse would have been, well, no, man, he wouldn't have wanted it any other way. He would have wanted us out there fighting, and all that stuff. But different situation than obviously having head trauma with a concussion and you're fine and vitals are fine. You're giving the thumbs up to the crowd, and obviously having CPR, completely different situation.
Yeah, and you talk about the umpire, and he just brought up Keyshawn Johnson. The umpire was 96, and I think Keyshawn Johnson was like 97. So this is 25, 26 years ago. We are in a different world in sports. It isn't how it was 20 years ago. I remember when Mike Utley, the offensive lineman for the Detroit Lions, broke his neck, and he's the one that really kind of like started the thumbs up thing. We're in a different era now where concussions is something that is talked about ad nauseum on ESPN, and it's crossed over to, quote unquote, real news. So like, we're just in a different era of the world and in sports where, when these tragic events happen, everybody takes pause and takes a step back and tries to look at it and think like, what's the best thing to do? And I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the NFL taking a step back and saying, hey, we'll get back to you when we get back to you.
For my wrestling fans out there, y'all remember when Owen Hart died at an actual, I think it was King of the Ring. He was on like a cable coming down, like for his entrance or whatever. Like he was trying to fly down from the rafters or whatever, from the entertainment standpoint of this stuff. And he died. The show went on. That's crazy to me, so, but that's where we're at. But all right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on 1410 ESPN Radio, 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the right number, as Nick was able to call in and jump in. So let's see. David Shaw says the game didn't reach halftime. The game would start over. Shaw, do you know that for sure? Like, is that like been put out there? I haven't come across that. I don't know. I don't know how that would work. I would assume Nick brought up the rule book stated that you would pick up right where it left off.
Rules are the rules.
Rules are the rules. Steve Stetler said, do you think if it hadn't been such a huge game nationally televised in primetime versus a regionally televised game made a difference in how it was handled? Actually, yes. They're as weird as it sounds. Well, to be fair, Steve, keep in mind the NFL, if we're saying that the NFL made the decision, then yes, the game would have been played on Monday night. If the teams would have just did what the NFL wanted them to do, I think they would have played. I do think that's a great question. If that wasn't a Monday night game, if that was just a general 1 p.m. kickoff and that happens, is that game still going to be played?
Yes.
Is the reaction still what it is?
No, because everybody's watching their team. Everybody's just bouncing around from game to game to game to game. This is the biggest game of the season. It's on Monday Night Football. It's on New Year's Day. Everybody was looking forward to this game all week long. Like, it was the matchup of the week. So yeah, all eyes were on that matchup. So it wasn't any other competition. Like, even you being a Browns fan, you were watching this game. Like, but if this was at 1:00 and the Bengals and Browns were on at the same time, you would have on the Browns game, much like I would have on the Steelers game. I'd be like, I would check in on it, but like, I'm watching my team. So it being the only show in town, it definitely brought all the attention to it.
The attention would not be the same, but I do believe the game gets canceled. And here's why. This is to the credit of McDermott and, of course, Zach Taylor.
Oh, you mean that night?
Steve Stetler on Facebook, he goes, do you think if it hadn't been such a huge game nationally televised in primetime versus a regionally televised game made a difference in how it was handled? So he's asking, it would have been handled different. I hijacked it and said, would the reaction be the same? I think the reaction would be different but I think it would have been handled the same. I think the NFL would have still been pushing to get the game in.
Yes.
Well, I think ultimately the great human beings at Zach Taylor and McDermott and a night game versus a 1 p.m. kickoff doesn't change the emotional reaction that we witnessed to watching, your guy down on the ground, having CPR administered to him. So, yeah, I think it would have been handled the same. The NFL would have tried to push him to play, and ultimately the better human beings would have stepped up and said, no, we ain't playing this damn.
That same thing would have happened.
Steve.
But the outpouring, because everybody that would have saw it on social media as opposed to real time. I mean, I'm curious to see what the numbers were for that game. I think it got to be the highest rated game of the season. Everybody was talking about that game going into that game.
Let's go back to 518-1410. Kev, who's up?
We got John, line 1.
What up, John? How are you, sir? Welcome.
Hey, fellas. Thanks for taking my call. I started praying right away when this happened, and I always pray for the well-being of all players. Now, the thing I have to suggest about a potential solution for this, because things should be discussed, I think the game should be played. I think, especially if Kansas City loses, I think it really is important. I think the Bengals were well on their way to win that game. I'm a Bengal homer, but they were looking pretty good. And no one has discussed this. I haven't heard anyone discuss this in any of the scenarios. So as soon as I ask, I'll just kind of jump off and see what you guys think. Similar to baseball, after the 6th or 7th inning, if it's called, the team ahead wins. Even if you looked at this as a overtime type of a quarter, I suppose, the first team that scores a touchdown wins. If you score a field goal, the other team gets an option to tie that or win it with a touchdown. If there's no way that this game can logically be played, as it stands, they were winning. And
way too much time left in the game. It wasn't even over. The first quarter wasn't even over yet. It was only 7-3.
Late in the right. If it was much later in the game, maybe that would be discussed. But it's just a matter of, as it stands, if it goes nowhere, if it's a tie, if it's called, if it's just negated and it goes to percentage or whatever, it's just really, I can't say tragic, but if you're a Bengals fan, with all due respect to the young man, I'm still saying prayers for him, but we were ahead, and that kind of hurts. It made me think of when UD, because of COVID, I thought they were going to go and win the championship with the Flyers, and that kind of hurt. But I know these are all different circumstances. But all in all, you're right. It was too early in the game to kind of entertain what I'm saying, but I certainly believe that it should be played. I guess the best case scenario, they're going with next week as usual, which would be, everyone's going to play their games next week. Everyone's getting back to football. Both teams are getting back to football. I don't see why it can't be pushed back a week, and that we will play them to do proper seeding. And that's kind of where I stand.
No, and John, thank you, man, for the call. Yeah, and I agree. Look, and by the way, great try. I get why, not to sound insensitive, but I see why Bengals fans would love to try to push we were winning.
Bengal fan.
We were
Bengal fan. I've no other Bengals fan I've ever heard say that.
That was the only Bengals fan that existed.
He's the only one brave enough to say it, I guess.
Man, but he's
we're
praying
winning.
For him. He's praying for him.
You're up. It's 3.5 quarters of football left.
Wow.
Come on, bro.
You got Kev to react to that. That's how bad that was. Like,
come on.
My goodness, we're trying to come up with a solution to get either both teams a win percentage tiebreaker or to make this game up. But man, he went into I'm praying for him, but damn it, we were winning. I gotta go.
A total of 6 minutes was played.
We'll be right back.
What?
I gotta go pray.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be partly cloudy and windy, a high near 60. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy, a low near 35. And tomorrow's going to be partly cloudy and windy, a high near 45. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
Some people got COVID and thought, well, that wasn't such a big deal. But you can get COVID again, and next time it could be worse, especially for those 50 and older, or with a chronic condition like heart disease or diabetes. But with an updated vaccine, you have better protection from COVID's worst outcomes. And that's a big deal. Find updated COVID vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. We can do this. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
If you like burritos, which you do because everyone does, you should try Taco Bell's Chipotle Ranch and Salsa Verde grilled chicken burritos. These masterpieces start with a warm flour tortilla that we stuff with grilled chicken. But the real stars here are the bold sauces, Chipotle Ranch or Salsa Verde. In fact, the chicken is the stage upon which these sauces shine. Like this mic is a stage for me to spotlight my theatrical range. 2 chicken burritos, 2 bold flavors, $2 each. Order on the Taco Bell app. At participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only. Contact local store for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra while supplies last.
You wouldn't climb the Rockies with just one boot. You wouldn't go in a rainstorm with half an umbrella. And you wouldn't go through a car wash with your convertible roof half closed. But if you haven't gotten the updated booster, you're only partly protected from COVID-19. It works against Omicron and the latest variants. That's especially important if you're over 65. So get the new booster and get fully protected. A message from the Ohio Department of Health.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722. Or online at lanceroofing.com.
Need an online notary? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. We can notarize your documents remotely at no charge to you. All you need is a smartphone or laptop. Visit courthouseto.com for more info.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week, there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, Trying to find a needle in a haystack? Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
At McAfee, they're more than just an air temperature company. They're an air quality company. Breathe easy. Choose McAfee.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio. New year, new you, right? Well, how about new year, new cash? Kick off the new year right by entering for a chance to win $2,000 at wingam.com. It's the new year, new cash contest. Enter today.
Stop blaming the kicker, Kev. You big old bully.
Hey, man.
I think Ohio State should have won that because they were winning at a certain point.
Goodness gracious.
Oof.
Heartbreaker, man.
I always feel bad when we get new callers. I try not to Kinnerize them too early, but that last one was rough. You know, when the last caller actually had the nerve to say, well, there's a scenario that I haven't heard anyone else suggest. You know why? No one else has suggested that because no one else is crazy enough to say it out loud, dude.
I saw him revving up for it.
I didn't. You anticipated. I'm like, what are you giving the weird look for? I'm like, this guy seems nice. He's praying a lot. He's praying for him. T's and P's, baby. I mean, come on.
I'm praying for him. I'm praying for all the players. But, you know, we were winning. You got to pull that audio, bro. We got to play that.
I mean,
we're up 7-3. First quarter. 5 minutes to go, man. Call the game. That's us.
The last caller, folks, called in. And, you know, and by the way, we're not being insensitive to this situation at all. That last caller was, but I'm not going to make that be an indictment of all Bengals fans because I said on yesterday's show, what I've just been fascinated by is just how unified everyone has been in this situation. It wasn't, you know, you always brace yourself for that ugly, like Bills fans go, you know, not Bills fan. I'm not, what, you know what I'm saying? You brace yourself for the fans versus the fans.
Right.
And that wasn't the case. I mean, that's what was, you know, rarely do you get to, you know, in a tragic situation, get to talk about, you know, the positives that kind of not come out of it. That's not a good thing to say, but that come around it. That was a positive thing. You know what would have made that night worse, Kev? Fights in the stands.
Yeah.
You know, fights outside Paycor Stadium, you know, fans going back and forth. I think everyone kind of did a good job of not being Skip Bayless or Bart Scott or, you know, any of them. So, you know, it is what it is. But so no, that last caller, it's not an indictment on Bengals fans. But yeah, he called in and said, I have a suggestion. No one else has suggested this. I mean, the Bengals were winning. And he goes on to say that, well, they looked like they were about to go on and win that game. It was the first quarter. You were up 7-3. It was only your second possession of the game when this happened. I mean, kudos for you. A for effort.
Obviously, this is not a laughing matter at everything that's going on.
Did I mention he was praying for him?
Hamlin, but this guy, Yogi.
Oh, my. Oh, what up, Yogi? You have a tough call to follow up, my dude.
No, that was Yogi that had the comment.
No,
was it?
No, it was not.
No, yeah.
Okay. I'm looking at the wrong sheet.
Don't disrespect Yogi. I see I got Charlie's calling too, by the way. Yogi, what's up, man? How are you? Are you what's up?
I want to first start out with saying that hopefully DeMar comes back normal and we get that awesome tweet that come across Twitter that
Absolutely
says he's doing great. That shit is terrible. So I don't want anybody to think I'm being insensitive, but I think we play out next week because there's a lot of games that matter next week. If Kansas City beats the Raiders, which they should, then the Bengals aren't even looking at the number 1 seed. But I do think if the Raiders beat Kansas City and the Bills lose next week, then I think they should just give us it. I think if the Bills win next week and Kansas City loses, I think the Bills should get the number 1 seed. And I don't think they should play this game out again. I don't think they should make Buffalo come to Cincinnati and relive that. I don't think that's necessary.
Now, this is easy for me, who, and for anyone that's not an athlete that was involved there, to say, oh, they just replay it because there's so many emotions that are, people are going to remember the last time we were on this sideline, this happened. However, if on the flip side, Yogi, the thing that's interesting is there's one thing that is the most unifying thing in the entire world, and that's sports. We have seen some of the most catastrophic things in life happen, from wars to just all out, just horrible situations, to where the one thing that still went on was sports to unify. It's easy for me to say, play, this is a unifying moment, obviously play in honor of him, blah, blah, blah. But it's, again, this is a little different because the situation happened on the field of play where they would be resuming play. Sports are such a unifying thing, but there's way more to it than that. And I could understand where people are coming from in that perspective.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine making them replay it. And also Bart Scott's a scumbag, and they should definitely take him off the air because the things he said on the air is just absolutely ridiculous the last 2 years.
No, and Yogi, let me tell you. So here's why I disagree with you real quick. Bart Scott, yeah, I mean, I thought what he said was just blasphemous. I actually thought what he said should have got the same reaction, if not worse, than what Skip did. But I'm done defending Skip because Skip he dug in today against.
Yeah, at least Skip apologized.
Kind of. Then he went back to his old antics today. But no, my only disagreement with you about why they shouldn't replay it because it could be too traumatizing. There's a good chance these two teams are going to play each other in the playoffs.
Right.
So if we're saying they can't play each other in a makeup game because it could be too traumatizing, what happens if they end up paired up in the AFC title game or the divisional round? That's my only counter to that. I'm not saying you're wrong, but like if they don't play because of that,
if they win next week, then they would have home field advantage anyways, and we'd have to go to Buffalo.
Yeah.
And I don't think you replay the Cincinnati at Paycor Stadium. I mean, some of those players went back. There was reports that some of those players went back out onto that field. I mean, that's just, I don't know, man.
So
I wouldn't want to play on that field if I played for Buffalo and watch. I mean, their teammate died on that field. They had to bring him back to life. That shit, I couldn't imagine.
Yogi,
use my language.
Yeah, that's what I thought, Yogi. So 518-1410. Damn it. We've had back-to-back calls that are just,
Yogi.
No, Yogi, no. In all seriousness, I mean, me and you were like, wait, what?
I was like, did he? I wasn't sure. But yeah. Moving on.
And he told on himself because I was like, no,
honesty is the best policy.
Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying by that? Like, I'm not trying to say, oh, suck it up and go play. But my problem is we can't say, well, that game can't be made up because it could be too traumatizing for the players to go back out on that field where it happened. But if you don't make that game up for that reason, what happens if you run into each other in the playoffs and the Bengals have the higher seed or whatever? Again, there's so many, but that's my point. That's my only thing is that. But
kind of
again,
prolong it
easier for me to say.
Happens.
I wasn't impacted by it personally being there, so it's easier for me to say. But that's my only counter to that is at some point you have to go back, and it could be as early as the next 2 or 3 weeks. So
right.
We'll see what happens. All right, 518-1410. Let's do another one, Kev.
We got Brian, line 3.
Let's go to Brian. Brian, how are you, sir?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Oh, Brian, what up, man?
Good. Hey, I saw you've been doing FanDuel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll be getting to that coming up shortly, but what do you got?
I see you've been doing a lot better than I have. I'm still having a good time with it. Yeah.
I've been very lucky.
Yeah, obviously, as a Bengals fan, I was locked into that game. I was watching it in the garage because my wife and my 3 adorable princesses really aren't into football.
Girl dad.
Big time, all the way. But so I was watching the garage, and I saw they just said, Buffalo player was down. So I went in and helped get the girls to bed and all that. And I go back out to the garage, and I see the ambulance on the field. So I went in and hopped on YouTube TV in the house and kind of replayed it. And obviously prayers. Everybody's saying it, so I got to add on to that, so I don't seem insensitive. But the thing is, I think everybody's kind of at a standstill until we do get that word that hey, he's going to be all right. Hey, he's going to come out of this. And until that happens, I don't think anybody really cares about it. But that also on the other side of it, without trying to be insensitive, life is still going to move forward for everybody. He's going to, by the grace of God, he's going to come out of this, and life is still going to move forward. Things aren't going to stay standing still. To be coming up with a game plan for that, is somebody's job. And unfortunately, the job that they have, they're not going to make everybody happy. So it's kind of, what is that going to look like? That's probably the big question.
Brian, it's kind of like, we kind of learned that with COVID a little bit. Like, it got to a point where everyone had various opinions of how to approach playing sports during that stretch. And it came to a point where it was like, all right, we're not making anyone play, but the games are going to be scheduled. The games are going to be played, and those who are willing to move forward and are capable of it mentally and physically will move forward. And if those who can't, just, it sounds cold hearted, but I think that's, we learned that in COVID. And I think that might almost be the approach here.
And being an education and teacher, I'm an elementary teacher, teach fifth grade. So I have a lot of female colleagues that pay attention enough to know who wins and loses. But when something like this happens, they ask me what's going to happen here, what's going to happen there. I don't know. I just speculate. But I think if this would have happened week 3 rather than week 18, it opens up a whole lot of more doors. When this happened, unfortunately, it did happen. When it did happen, that's almost the worst nightmare of the NFL, because there's not a lot of avenues they can use. If it would have happened in week 3, to be able to make that up would be a lot easier of a situation. I kind of thought if they were able to do it this week, they could push the games on Sunday back to Tuesday, and then the first round of the playoffs goes Sunday, Monday instead of Saturday, Sunday, and that could kind of more sand that in. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen. So I think that best option people are out there is, push back the AFC Championship, push back the playoffs a week, and just kind of get rid of the buffer between the championship games and the Super Bowl. Because I don't think that they're able at this point to even move the Super Bowl.
Right.
There's a lot of questions out there that I'm glad I don't have to be the one with an answer for.
Yes, you're right, Brian. Because if this would happen like week 3, both teams basically bye weeks probably would have got eliminated, and they would have made it up then. But obviously, it's happening at the back half of the season. Well, not even back half of it. Like basically.
Even remember during the COVID seasons, we had like Wednesday afternoon games just to get them in. Something in that order.
But Brian, appreciate you, man. Thanks for the take. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. We'll keep listening. We'll talk to you
later.
518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Scott Campbell on YouTube, Kev, says, I'd rather see the Bills come back to Cincinnati next year, preseason or regular season, than trying to replay this game. Like I said, and that's fine. There's two different sides to it. I'm just on the side of, they might have to cross paths in the playoffs. And at that point, you could decide if you want to play or not, but it's just, like I said, that would be weird to me.
It's so many scenarios, but I don't want to go down the scenario route, but is it a way that it plays out that
staggered?
Yeah, that's another way.
Sorry, Skip.
That if the games play out a certain way this weekend, that the Bengals would be eliminated from number 1 seed.
Well, no, that's what Damon said earlier about if the Chiefs win this week, they're the 1 seed, and then the 1 seed's not up for grabs anymore. And then that makes this Ravens matchup strictly for the, obviously the AFC North championship with that. And then the 2 seed, as some have pointed out, still semi-important because that gives you that home field advantage for the at least one game, the divisional round, or the wild card and the divisional round. You would have home field, which is clutch there. But someone's gonna have to just eat something here. It's just that's the reality of it.
But if the Bengals lose to the Ravens, then they're out of the 2, they're out of the 1. So do you play the game then when there's nothing up for grabs?
I think the only reason we're having this conversation is because of what was at stake for that game. That's why that was the biggest game of the season.
Right.
It wasn't just because it was Josh Allen against Joe Burrow. It was everything that went with it. The 1 seed was on the line. It is I saw someone tweet the other day. Imagine if 5 years ago, I think it was Jay Morris, and I can't remember who it was, but imagine 5 years ago if someone would have told you that the biggest Monday Night Football game of the season would have come in week 18, and it would have been the Bills and the Bengals, who 5 years ago, two of the biggest jokes of teams in the National Football League, and yet here we are. But I think it's because of everything that was at stake as far as that's concerned. But
absolutely.
All right, it's hour 2. Let's do one more call. Let's knock out the calls real quick. Kev, who we got?
The return of Charlie.
Charlie, how are you, buddy?
First of all, you need to check your tone. You always throw the Bengals in as a joke, and when we have down years and all this stuff, and you need to stop doing that. Because when we win the North, that'll be 6 AFC North titles. We'll be tied with the Ravens, okay? You have 0. So stop doing that.
Why are you so sensitive today? My goodness, I've been on my best behavior.
You always do this. You're like, well, when we're good, you're good. When we're bad, you're bad. It's like, no. We'll be going to the playoffs 9 times out of 21 seasons in the North.
What did I do? What is wrong with you? Did you get dumped?
I'm settling something.
Did you get fired?
I'm settling something.
Someone cut you off on the highway? What the hell's your problem? You're mad at me for something 2 or 3 weeks ago? You sound like my wife.
I haven't been able to talk to you.
Well, damn, I wish we could have kept that going a little bit. No, what you got, man?
I was at the game.
Oh.
And I got to tell you, from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock it was the most euphoric hour up to that play, like in my sports life. I mean, I'm trying to get through the gate to get into the stadium, and there's a balcony above the gate, and I swear to God, Ickey Woods is up there getting people riled up in the crowd. And I'm talking to guys from Baton Rouge that came up to watch Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase play, and I'm telling them about Bootsy Collins. He's going to be the halftime show. And they're like, who's that? I'm like, oh, dude, it's going to blow your freaking mind. They're young guys. They don't know who Bootsy is.
Neither does Kenny.
But
I do know who Bootsy is. I've heard Faith talk about
it. But anyway, the Bengals drew the coolest intro I've ever seen to start a game. It was amazing. Were you guys there?
No, I was not watching on TV.
I was there. I have season tickets and all.
Were you there, Justin?
No, I really wasn't.
Okay. And I had Bills fans sitting in front of me, and we were talking about, when Andy Dalton, made that 4th down play and got the Bills in the playoffs, and then they donated all the money to the Andy Dalton Foundation. And, everybody was just cool, at the beginning of the game. Everybody. And everybody had that same, feeling we're about to see, a crazy game. And it starts off, 2 good drives. And then, within an hour, it's dead silent in that building. It's so bizarre, man. And it went from, people being, buddies and, everybody's cool, dabbing each other up and all that to, Bengals fans, hugging Bills fans. It's just, I'm sorry. And people don't know what to do. No one, Bills fans, Bengals fans, no one knew what to do.
Charlie, how did people start getting the news that it was so serious?
Well, I was sitting close enough to the field that I could see the Bills players crying. And I'm like that. I thought he was dead because I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen players just flat out bawling on the field, and they huddled around him, so we can't see anything. And here's the weird thing. The clap you always hear when an injured player is getting up or, waves the crowd, whatever. That happened 2 different times. And I thought the people up in the 300 level could see inside of the circle.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that they saw him wave or give a thumbs up or something. But it was just people just wishing so bad that he's okay. And I think it just kind of started out of that. And it would start and then it went away. And then another time, I think when they picked the stretcher up to put him in the ambulance, it started again, but he didn't move.
Wow.
And so people started getting their phones out, and it was so quiet in the stadium you could get your phone out and like, if you had like ESPN or whatever, you could put the broadcast on and listen to it. My mom called me, and I could hear the phone call.
When you have a stadium with that many people, and it's just dead silent, like that's that would be eerie. Because you're right. I think that we are instinctually, we're just kind of taught to just clap and do the as they're making their way off the field. When the fact that didn't happen, that's eerie. So.
Well, and I just. At this point, the one thing about it, as far as like if you're a player on any of the teams, I just think if it was me, like get out of your own feelings for a second and think about Lamar being in the hospital. I know he's like chemically induced and he's unconscious, but if I bet he would be like almost pissed if you were like, we're not playing. Because he loves football. I don't know if that's 100%. I know that's how I would feel. Like, look, I'm already here. I'm already in the hospital. There's nothing else you guys can do. You need to go play. That's how, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if he feels that way or not, but I would imagine somebody on that level of football, that's just something that I was just thinking about. And then also, as far as like the scenarios and stuff, like people are like, oh, if the Bengals would have won and then played this week and won and the Chiefs lose, we get the number one. It's like, well, what if we lost to the Bills? What if we turn around and lost to the Ravens? Now we're a wild card team. Like it could go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think they should try to reschedule that game. I know it's a big deal, but I don't even know. Like, I don't know. That's all strange. But I don't really think they need to play it, man. But and I'll tell you what, Joe Burrow, it don't matter where he plays. It will be. It don't matter.
He started out.
He plays.
He finished how he started, making Kenner mad.
Yep.
Charlie, have a good evening, dude.
And the thing is, Kenner knows it.
Knows what? What do I know?
You know what I said.
That he can win anywhere?
Hey, who they think gonna beat them Bengals? Nobody.
I mean, you can't win in Cleveland. Oh, he hung up. I'm gonna let that go a little bit. It's the best sound of Charlie right there. He did the mic drop. He did the phone drop. He did the Shaw. Ay. Lots of stuff coming in on Facebook, the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Keep in mind, yes, I know, and I said it's only a matter of time before you start to hear people say, well, he would have wanted us to play. Keep in mind, it's not just from that angle. From the mental side, for those of us who have not played football, we don't understand that fear of when you go play a physical sport like that. Like, that's what you dread. Like, that's what you fear going onto that field every time you go to play. And then you saw it happen and you saw it happen in front of you. So there's the mental side as far as like players needing to get over that hurdle. It's not just about, oh, we're thinking about him. They are thinking about him, but it's also that, like, can some players get over that? That's why so much is being invested into, mental health when it comes to, what's readily available for some of these players. But we're way over time. So we're going to step away for a few moments, catch up on some old paid inventory here. And we'll get into some sports betting stuff coming up around the corner. The Dayton Flyers in action tonight. St. Joe's going to be at UD Arena. Got some bets involving the Dayton Flyers. How about the Cleveland Cavaliers? How about that 71 points the other night?
Yeah.
71 points. Donovan Mitchell, historic night. Can he keep it going? We'll find out. And hopefully he does, because we'll all make some money if that's the case.
Ching.
And I have a way for you to get a free $50. Who doesn't want free money, right?
I do.
And Kev jumped on it right away. I got Kev a free $50. I'll tell you how.
Appreciate it.
I'm going to do the same for y'all whenever we come back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Are you starting to question your gambling
or the actions of someone you love?
It may be time to talk to someone who understands.
Call the Problem Gambling Helpline today and talk to a trained specialist.
There's no judgment and no commitment.
Plus, it's completely free and confidential.
We're here for you. You are not alone.
And remember,
we all have the power to change.
With the Problem Gambling Helpline of Ohio.
Make the call today.
Call the Problem Gambling Helpline of Ohio at 1-800-589-9966.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home. For all the music news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
The wait is over. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is officially live in Ohio. You can now legally bet on all your favorite sports teams anytime, anywhere, right here in Ohio with DraftKings. For a limited time, new customers who sign up with code WING1410 will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. I'm a huge NBA fan, so I can't wait to check out DraftKings' great features like the same game parlays, player props, and much more. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers can use promo code WING1410 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on anything. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Valid one offer per first-time depositor who have not already redeemed $200 free bets via pre-launch offer. Minimum $5 deposit and wager. $200 issued as bonus bets. Eligibility restrictions apply. See dkng.co/OH for terms.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Here's to Prilosec OTC. Without Prilosec, I wouldn't be able to enjoy all this yummy holiday food. Speaking of, whoever made that apple pie, delicious. I just take one pill each morning and zero heartburn all day. So cheers to Prilosec OTC. Ooh, are those jalapeno poppers?
Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid that can cause heartburn, so you can enjoy the holidays. One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
The Mina Kimes Show, featuring Lenny.
And we should know, and I assume you saw this, but it's too late to take back your pick.
I can tell you I saw that because I was the one that texted that to you.
Oh, I missed that. I can confirm you texted that to me, and I wrote back, damn, that would be huge. This was an hour and a half ago in my defense. I've been busy.
Listen and subscribe to The Mina Kimes Show, featuring Lenny, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Oh, want better visibility to get you through the winter? A new pair of premium wipers can help. Right now, you can earn a $10 bonus reward when you buy a pair of Rain-X Quantum Wiper Blades. See better and stay safe on the road all winter long. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply. Offer available to AutoZone Rewards members.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Mark Patrick Seminars. Stop smoking without cravings, irritability, or weight gain. Only $49.99 guaranteed. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all, or your money back. Seminar 8 p.m. on Thursday, January 26th at the Holiday Inn Dayton Fairborn, I-675 in Fairborn. Or 2 p.m. on Saturday, January 28th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, Dayton South, I-675 in Dayton. Registration 30 minutes before seminar. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality,
Well, how about New Year, new cash? Kick off the new year right by entering for a chance to win $2,000 at wingam.com. It's the New Year, new cash contest. Enter today.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Live on Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. Like, subscribe, follow along, be a part of the conversation weekdays from 3 to 6. Now that we're officially in the new year, we have no accrued PTO time, so you're stuck with us weekdays from 3 to 6 now.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, Kev just keeps it all in the chamber until December and then takes the whole month off. Damn. Not a bad strategy, to be honest.
It's not.
So,
funny enough, I already put in all my vacation time for 2023 already.
My goodness.
Put it in on the first day of the year. First come, first serve.
You're going to take off November and December then this year? But no, excited to be back and at it here to kick off the new year, of course. I hope everyone – it's kind of tough to enjoy New Year's, of course. You know, by the way, Ohio State, when they lost to Georgia, and was not happy to see Georgia win, but there was a very weird thing as far as timing goes that like was really cool and not cool at the same time. Ruggles missed field goal, like the countdown as the ball was dropping for New Year's Eve. 10, 9, 8, going the whole countdown. Right as Ruggles' kick went wide, left, and the ball dropped, hit zero. So right as the ball dropped, countdowns are Happy New Year. It was timed up so perfect. It was like literally the same exact moment. Right as that ball dropped is when the ball went far left, far left. And then while they have the clip of everyone celebrating on New Year's Eve night, then you have the clip of the Georgia players just storming the field and celebrating. You don't talk about a weird timing. Me and all my friends, we all had our phones out. We all had FanDuel up on our phones because we're ready to rock because at midnight sports betting goes live. So we're like, man, if this goes into overtime, how cool is that we're going to be placing? Nope. So, but yeah, very unique night. That's for sure.
Heartbreaker. Talking about that kick or that whiff or whatever you want to call it.
Wide.
I mean, they showed a clip of CJ Stroud on his knees watching the kick. And he got up so fast because it was over so fast. Like it was shoe to ball miss. Normally, so like our older listeners remember this. They'll remember Scott Norwood from the Buffalo Bills when they played the New York Giants in the Super Bowl that Whitney Houston sung the opening for. And that kick missed by like 2 feet. Like it was that close. It was maybe even a foot it missed. So it seemed like that ball was in the air forever, just spinning and spinning. Is it going to go through? Is it going to go through? Wide left, unfortunately. That kick from Noah Rooks, I mean, boom, it's over. Like you didn't even get a chance to say because he missed it so bad. It was just the worst kick I've ever seen in my life. It really looked like, those halftime situations where they pull a fan out of the crowd, like, see if you can make a 20-yard kick. That's what it looked like.
Thank you. One of my closest friends, we got into it on New Year's Eve night because I lost my damn mind and snapped when he missed the field goal. Because I'm like, that's your only job. Like, that's what you do. And it wasn't like it was some crazy 65-yarder.
Right.
I mean, in the pregame, when they were doing the special game, when they were doing the special teams preview, they were talking about advantage Ohio State having the best kicker. And then they were showing like, I think his long on the season was like 47.
Yeah.
We're talking a 3-yard difference. Like, and it didn't matter because he could have kicked it from the 30. He could have kicked it from 30 yards out. He wasn't even coming close to the bar.
Nope.
So let's just be clear. It is interesting when you handle like kickers and everything, because right away everyone's like, don't be hard on him. Don't be hard on him. First of all, I am going to be hard on him because here's the deal. We rip quarterbacks. We destroy quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
CJ Stroud is a back-to-back Heisman finalist that we try to say was one of the worst Buckeye quarterbacks of all time. And I'm not allowed to say, damn you, kicker. No, like y'all can shove it with that. You know, my friend, I love him, but he could shove it with that. Oh, that wasn't a chip shot. I don't care. What are you talking? That's his only job. If we're going to criticize quarterbacks, I'm pretty sure we could criticize a kicker.
Yeah, well, two things can be true at the same time. 50 yards is not an easy kick, but you can't miss it that bad. Like, that's the problem.
Thank you.
You
Yes.
just can't miss it that bad. If he'd have missed it, hit the upright, we'd have still been mad at him for missing the kick. But the fact that, it didn't even stand a chance. And yes, no, I don't think we should be out here giving this kid or young man death threats
Oh, God, no.
anything like that. But we can still be pissed off and be like, well, wait a minute, bro. Like, you can't miss like that. That's unacceptable. So, yeah, I mean, he wasn't ready for prime time, man. I rarely use this word about athletes, but that was a choke job. That definitely was. I mean,
you're not critical.
No,
that's my game.
I know
it is.
If Steph Curry goes to the free throw line and misses, he just misses. If he airballs, that's choking. What he did was a choke job because it wasn't even close. Like, I don't even know if it made it to the end zone. And I don't even want to go back and look at it. It was so bad.
And I had to wait. I was like, well, maybe it was a botched snap. Like, maybe it wasn't all him. It was
tipped.
It was a clean snap. No one touched it.
Good snap, good hold.
To be fair,
good blocking.
You can't block a kick that wasn't even kicked where people are. I mean, my God. And like, Kidder, I'd like to see you kick a ball. I couldn't do any worse than that. But,
and I mean, it's your only job, man. And I mean, I'm not trying to bang on the guy like that, but like, you're a kicker, man. You're asked to do one thing, man. Kick the ball.
Jeff on Facebook saying, I'm not sure the holder got it down good.
Oh, he got it down.
I thought it was a clean snap, hold, everything. It just wasn't.
You're really gonna make me rewatch this.
But Jeff, we'll take another look at it. But no, and that's right. I mean, like, because I remember going back and watching. I was like, well, maybe it wasn't the kicker. Maybe no, it was him. And by the way, he's more than capable. I mean, I remember in the pregame coverage when they were talking about the special teams advantage that Ohio State has when it comes to the kicker. You know, they were highlighting a lot of the impact that rookie kickers have had coming in. Now, I was hoping to get more out of Cade York in Cleveland, but they highlighted that, Cade York right away, his very first game with the Cleveland Browns, he kicks the game winner against Baker Mayfield and the Panthers. Remember that? Now, Cade York would go on to miss many, many big kicks, including the one against the Chargers, my very first Browns game ever. That was so painful. But they were definitely highlighting my favorite kicker, as much as it pains me to say, Evan McPherson. I mean, my God, they were talking about there's like, he's the likes of that. So I'm sorry, but this idea that we can't be critical of a kicker is just laughable to me. As like I said, they're not the quarterback or whatever, but I think you should be more critical of kickers. That's your only job. It's your only job. You don't have to learn a playbook. You don't have to learn the plays. You don't have to condition. You don't have to. You just kick. You just kick. And I'm probably being disrespectful to the kickers at this point, but we're not wrong. I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it was just bad. It's bad for business. And I just looked at the replay. The funny thing that just came up, the first tweet that comes up when you type in Ohio State kicker. No, it's not that one. It's the one from the great Tim May, and it's of Jaden Fielding, who's a backup kicker, made a 60-yarder in practice of the Peach Bowl.
Yeah. And by the way, Ruggles was hitting him from like 50, 55, and 60. He was hitting like in practice and warm-ups for that game. They were highlighting how far back. I mean, even Herbstreit was talking about how, and that's a bummer. He was watching him in warm-ups and practice for that game. He was knocking him back from 60, 65 yards out, just consistently.
I mean,
and that stinks. And by the way, maybe it wasn't a choke job. It's just the one time you don't get your footing right. The one time, whatever. It stinks that's the one time, the biggest game of your career. But you know what? It doesn't matter.
And he's been money all season long. Really didn't need him because we were blowing everybody out. But it sucks for him, obviously, but it sucks for us too.
That's the problem. So when you're a team like Ohio State that blows everyone out of the water and you don't play in close games, we could talk about how talented these kickers are all you want. But I think, being a kicker at Ohio State or in Alabama when you don't play in close games, I think sometimes that might have been that was probably the most high pressure kick of his career, right? Like, I can't think of another.
Go look at him. You can find it on your replay or YouTube, or whatever. Look at him on that final drive. Look at him after CJ's 30-something yard run. They're in field goal range after that. So now he knows, like, oh, we're kicking. We're not gonna like go for the end zone. Like, so he's not like in the net kicking. He's not nobody's around him and all that type of stuff. Like, he just got his helmet like sitting on the top of his head, and he looked like a deer in headlights. And it's like, that's not good, because I didn't notice it until my brother was egging me on, like, dude, you got to rewatch. You got to go look at it. And I looked at it again. I was like, yeah, he does look shook. He does look. It's not the Justin Tucker look that he always has, like the dead eyes, like, I'm gonna make this. Is not the Vinatieri, like, oh man, I'm gonna knock this dude to uprights. He was nervous, and it showed.
Yeah, that's for sure. In fact, when CJ dropped back they were in field goal range, and CJ dropped back to throw, and I was like, all the Georgia fans, all the Georgia players, and Ruggles all hoped he threw an interception in that moment. Yeah. All right, folks, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
The pain!
Cleveland Cavaliers. Excited for that game tonight. Sports betting has made me just really invested into everything. As if my job should not have already made me invested into the Cleveland Cavaliers and all things sports. Kev, you're going to love sports betting more than anybody, because that's going to make me just hooked on the NBA at this point.
The association.
But I got a cool Kinner parlay for the Cavs game tonight that involves Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen. It involves Chris Paul. We'll get to that coming up around the corner. I have a big bet that I placed on the Dayton Flyers tonight. Again, Kinner's picks coming up here, and I'm hoping some of y'all play some of the same bets that I placed, because I'd like to help y'all win some money. I feel pretty good about my picks, and there's one pick that I am so confident about that I guarantee you will win $50. Now, Kev, in fact, believe me, Kev knows he has $50 coming his way. I'm going to tell you how. Yes, exactly. We'll be right back. I promise you. Sports betting segment coming up next. Kinner's picks when we return.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be partly cloudy and windy, a high near 60. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy, a low near 35. And tomorrow's going to be partly cloudy and windy, a high near 45. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish. Sounds easy. It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Save big money on everything. Now at Menards. Clearview Cabinetry starts as a kitchen built for now and grows with you as life changes. It's flexible by design with full access cabinet construction, so you can go from doors to drawers for storage that works when you need it. Give your kitchen the upgrade it deserves with Clearview Cabinetry. Explore all our cabinet options on display in our kitchen showroom and save big money now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Totally changed my life.
It's amazing.
I don't have any cravings.
You want to quit, but have found it impossible? This is the thing for you. I have absolutely no craving. It's the darndest thing I have ever seen in my life.
It's not for entertainment. It's for results.
Do it. It works. Period.
You've tried everything else. You need to come and try this.
Only $49.99 guaranteed. No irritability, no cravings. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. In addition, use hypnosis to lose all the weight and destroy unwanted cravings. Seminars Thursday, January 26th at the Holiday Inn Dayton Fairborn, I-675 in Fairborn. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or January 28th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites Dayton South, I-675 Dayton. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
What makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination? Because they offer free battery testing and charging and reliable replacement batteries. And they've always got your battery solution. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
New year, new cash. Enter for your chance to win $2,000 at wingam.com.
That's right. New year, new cash. Cash contest at wingam.com. Kick off the new year right by heading to wingam.com and entering for your chance to win $2,000. You'll see it right there on the home page at wingam.com. New year, new cash. Take advantage of that opportunity right there. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We're also live on Facebook. Head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show. Hey, sports fans, the wait is finally over. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is now live in Ohio. New customers in Ohio can get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's right. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/Kinner, Kinner. FanDuel.com/Kinner, Kinner. Finally, you can bet on all of your favorite sports with everything from the money line to point spreads to player props, which I'll have for you coming up here in just a moment for some of our big games here in the state of Ohio. So go ahead and win some bucks in the Buckeyes state, all on an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Don't miss your chance to get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And now I get to do my favorite part. Kev, are you ready?
Oh, can he get it at one take?
Must be 21 and older and present in Ohio. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued at non-withdrawable bonus. Nope, got to start over. Bonus. Must be 21 and older and present in Ohio. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Not bad.
Nailed it.
Not bad.
Nailed it. Again, I hope everyone's having a great evening. And I'm excited that FanDuel and sports betting is live here in the state of Ohio. I've had a lot of fun with it. I am up $600 since the weekend. I'm actually,
wow.
I don't know if you're, is anyone ever good at sports betting?
Yes. There's professionals.
Well, I'm not professional.
I'm just saying.
And I don't know if I'm good at it. I do think I'm lucky. So we'll see if the luck streak continues here tonight. We got Kenner's Bets. This is my favorite part of the show.
Let's do it.
All right. Kev, you're a big NBA fan.
Absolutely.
You love the NBA. So
the association. Watch it way too
bam!
much.
There's the music. All right. For those of you live on Facebook, or if you're not on the Facebook page or ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel, head there now. You'll have an opportunity to check out my guaranteed locks of the night. I promise you. You want to win some money? Follow old Kenner over here. I'll help you out. All right, here it is. We'll start with the Dayton Flyers. Dayton Flyers in action tonight. They have St. Joe's coming to UD Arena, Kev. And I went ahead and I did a money line / parlay, okay? And with this, I picked Dayton to win, and then I picked the under. And again, the total was 133.5. So I picked the under. I think Dayton wins, and I think they score. Actually, no, that's not true. I picked the over. My apologies. See, I already making a mistake off the top here. I picked Dayton to win plus the over 133.5 again tonight. Again, a $10 wager will win you $11.50. So head there to place that bet now. Again, pick Dayton to win and pick the over. The total is 133.5. I picked the over in that. Now, the reason I picked the over in this particular situation is mainly because Dayton, who I would not have normally, the reason I said under is because I just naturally went to the under because Dayton has not been a very good offensive basketball team, but this is a team that has won 5 straight. However, they average 67 points per game on the season. They don't score a ton of points, but over their 5-game win streak, Kev, they're averaging 75 a game over the last 5. Okay. Dayton has also been shooting 30% from the 3-point line all season. That's not very good, but over the last 5 games, Kev, throughout this 5-game win streak, they're shooting just a hair under 40%. They're about 39.6%, just a hair under 40%, as I mentioned. I like the Flyers offensively as they have vastly improved over the last 5 games. Their defense is now being complemented by 3-point shooting at the offensive end, which in return, and it's not a coincidence that we're also seeing Deron Holmes kind of pop off the way he is, because Deron Holmes, he was being eaten alive, to start the season because teams knew they couldn't shoot the basketball from behind the 3-point line, so they would just pack it in.
Right.
Well, now that they're shooting the 3 ball a lot better over the last 5 games, that has stretched the defense. It's allowed Deron Holmes to go to work, and he's been eaten, and I expect him to eat again tonight against St. Joe's. A big one at UD Arena. Again, for those watching, it is incorrect on the graphic. My apologies. First show doing this. Just give me a break. But I'm picking the Dayton Flyers to win, and I'm picking the over on the total at 133.5. A $10 bet right there is what you could place to be able to, get $11.50. I say y'all try it out. Try it out. All right, let's move on to the NBA. My next pick, Kev. Cleveland Cavaliers against the Phoenix Suns tonight.
Okay, I'm watching that game.
This is the one that'll guarantee you money. I'm not lying. This is the New State Super Boost. Okay? New State Super Boost bonus. Okay? If there is one rebound in tonight's Cavs versus Suns game, if you place a $50 max bet, you'll get a $50 payout. I hope there's one rebound in this Cavs game tonight. If there is one rebound in the Cavs game tonight by either team, your $50 max bet turns into a $50 payout. This one's easy. I'm guaranteed to get this one right, and you're guaranteed to get $50. Go do that now. You did it.
Yes, I'm ready. Locked and loaded, ready to get my $50.
So on tomorrow's show, Cavill started out by thanking Kenner for making him $50 richer. There you go. All right, but I'm going to stay with the Cleveland Cavaliers for tonight. My next pick, my first one again, Dayton against St. Joe's UD Arena tonight. I did a money line / parlay again. I picked Dayton to win, and I picked the over. I know the graphic says the under, but I picked the over, the total at 133.5. Dayton 5-game win streak, averaging 75 points per game over the last 5 games. 30% 3-point shooting team on the season, but they're shooting just a hair under 40% over this 5-game win streak, which in essence has opened up the floor for Deron Holmes to dominate. They're playing much better basketball. I'm picking Dayton and the over 133.5 tonight. So make sure you go and you place that bet. A $10 wager on that, by the way, gets you an $11.50 payout, $21.50 as the total payout as far as that's concerned. So the Cleveland Cavaliers, Kev, tonight against the Phoenix Suns. The interesting thing about this matchup is that each team has a top player out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's no Darius Garland for Cleveland. There's no Devin Booker for the Phoenix Suns. So that means there's more shots to go around. I do believe that's one reason that we saw Donovan Mitchell just go off the other night for 71 points. A lot of those shots, he usually kind of splits with Darius Garland. I'm not suggesting that they get rid of Darius Garland. I'm just saying, there was more shots to go around. Let's just put it that way. But for my Cavs, Suns, Kenner parlay for tonight, Jared Allen, 15-plus points. He averages 15 on the season, 14.7 points per game on the season. I'm picking Jared Allen to score over 15 tonight. Donovan Mitchell, 30-plus points. Now, normally I would not pick a guy to go off for 30 after dropping 71 the night before. However, Darius Garland is out tonight.
Right.
So with no Darius Garland, it is up to Donovan Mitchell to carry the scoring load. So I do believe he is going to go off for 30 again tonight. Plus, the dude is just playing at another level. How he's not getting the same love as Luka and some of the other star players in the NBA. Maybe it's the Cleveland market. Not sure what it is, but he definitely put the league on notice with that. But Jared Allen, 15-plus points. Donovan Mitchell, 30-plus points. Mikal Bridges, 15-plus points. He averages just a couple points under that. I have him at 15-plus, and Chris Paul scoring 10-plus. He's at about 9.7 on the season. He's not having a great offensive year, but with no Devin Booker, there's going to be more shots to go around, and that's going to be, Chris Paul and Mikal Bridges responsible as far as the guards are concerned to kind of carry that. So with that bet, as far as that's concerned, Jared Allen, 15-plus for the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell, 30-plus for the Cavs. Mikal Bridges, 15-plus, and Chris Paul, 10-plus for the Suns. A $10 wager gets you a $50.85 payout, a $60.85 total payout as far as that's concerned. But there you go. What do you think?
I like it. I definitely love the Cavs one. I mean, the Suns are on a 3-game losing streak. No Devin Booker. Look for the Cavs to get busy. I'm hoping these are right, because this is my first time gambling.
So yeah, exactly.
I'm literally just doing exactly what you said.
You're going to do this? I'm like, damn, it's easy. Kidder must know what he's doing. Well, I am up $500.
Woo!
I'm going to be up $600 after tonight because 50. I'm confident in these picks though. So I'm confident. I'm confident in the Flyers against St. Joe's tonight at the arena. 3-point shooting with the bigs that they have. There's a reason they've been dominating over the last 5 games. So
Shooter!
We'll see what happens there. So again, and by the way, if you want to see those picks, you can head to the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. That's where you'll see all of those. Go place those bets. And by the way, if you don't have a FanDuel account, all new customers, $200 in free bets when you place your first $5 bet. All you got to do is go to FanDuel.com/Kinner and sign up for your account today. $500 in bonus bets. Again, that's huge because, well, you could bet using that. I mean, that's what I haven't spent $1 of my own money this whole week. I'm up $500, almost $600. I haven't spent a dime of my own money. I've been taking advantage of the bonus bets. Y'all need to take advantage of that as well. There's one more parlay that I also placed for tonight, Kev.
Another one.
And I think you'll like this one too. This one's a much bigger payout. Same game parlay. And it's a $14 wager. My OCD, I had like a 114 in my account, and I like even like hard numbers. So I put $14 on this one. But Kevin Durant, if he scores 30-plus points tonight, if Kyrie Irving scores 25-plus points tonight, if DeMar DeRozan scores 30-plus and Zach LaVine scores 25-plus, a $14 wager gets you $244.
That's a good bet.
I think so too. I love the same game parlays. Those are my favorite. I made a lot of money off those parlays from this past weekend in the NFL. Like, I'm bummed that sports betting goes live. We'll only have like a month of the NFL season left. So, I don't know how I'm going to pay my mortgage the rest of the year, but, I'll figure it out. Hopefully this NBA thing works out.
NBA, you got your hockey, got your soccer that I'm sure you know a ton about. You'll be straight.
So
baseball will be here before you know it.
But like, if we're just having a conversation, like, you think Kevin Durant going to go off for 30 and Kyrie for 25 tonight? That's the expectation. Plus the league, everyone's just getting points left and right. DeRozan expecting the 30-point night from him. This is a big game too between these two teams. So look, I'm interested, especially at the Eastern Conference. I like that $14 wager to win $244. I'm fine with that.
That's a good quality pick.
So,
especially if you're right.
All right. The Justin Kinner Show is on Facebook. Head to Facebook. Send me some of your picks. What are some of your parlays? What are some of your top bets that you're keeping an eye on heading in to tonight in the association? College basketball, Dayton Flyers, St. Joe's. Excited to kind of see what people are doing and experimenting with the old FanDuel side of things. But there you go. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
The wait is over. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is officially live in Ohio. You can now legally bet on all your favorite sports teams anytime, anywhere, right here in Ohio with DraftKings. For a limited time, new customers who sign up with code WING1410 will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. I'm a huge NBA fan, so I can't wait to check out DraftKings' great features like the same game parlays, player props, and much more. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers can use promo code WING1410 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on anything. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code WING1410. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and up. Physically present in Ohio. Valid one offer per first-time depositor who have not already redeemed $200 free bets via pre-launch offer. Minimum $5 deposit and wager. $200 issued as bonus bets. Eligibility restrictions apply. See dkng.co/OH for terms.
You wouldn't climb the Rockies with just one boot. You wouldn't go in a rainstorm with half an umbrella. And you wouldn't go through a car wash with your convertible roof half closed. But if you haven't gotten the updated booster, you're only partly protected from COVID-19. It works against Omicron and the latest variants. That's especially important if you're over 65. So get the new booster and get fully protected. A message from the Ohio Department of Health.
Make the big game sound even bigger with your new TV and sound system from Audio Etc. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom today and experience 8K TVs and projectors, short throw projectors from 100-inch to 130-inch, all the way to your high-end dream system. Audio Etc has tons of new inventory in stock, while everybody else is back-ordered or out of stock. Get special deals on a TV and your dream system today. Audio Etc can bring any big game home. It's better than being there. You have to see it to believe the incredible quality of the picture and sound. If you can't afford your dream system, check out our huge selection of vintage and pre-owned components. Audio Etc, powered by Klipsch, Bowers & Wilkins, SVS, Marantz, Denon, Sony, and a whole list of high-performance brands that you've probably never heard of. 551 Congress Park Drive in Centerville.
Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed. Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the very best value in bath and shower remodeling and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that's safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase right now. Visit Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
The all-new Chevrolet of Troy is now open. What are the advantages of shopping at Chevrolet of Troy? Selection has never been better. With over 300 new and pre-owned vehicles available, we always accept employee and supplier pricing, and we make financing easy. Customer service is our top priority. We care about you. With thousands off MSRP, a full-service state-of-the-art dealership, and huge selection. Make Chevrolet of Troy your first stop today. 1375 South Market Street and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kenner, Kev Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. So tomorrow, and this is not known yet, but working with FanDuel, they have let me know that there'll be another really cool new state super boost for tomorrow that involves the Ohio State Buckeyes. So make sure for y'all sports bettors out there, y'all keep an eye on that on FanDuel. Again, the super boost tonight for the new state's super boost, of course, is if there's any rebound in the Cleveland Cavaliers Phoenix Suns game, if you bet $50, you get $50 back. In fact, Kev, he got all signed up with FanDuel. I helped him get signed up with FanDuel. He just bet $50 that there'll at least be one rebound in the game. Now, you're probably saying that sounds really stupid easy. Well, they're not all that easy. This is just a thank you from FanDuel and a welcome to sports betting from FanDuel. So some of those low-hanging I did another one this past weekend for $100 in the Browns game, Kev, that if you bet $100, you won $100 if there was a one passing yard, which was a little iffy with how Deshaun has started. Oofa. Nonetheless, but we welcome you back again. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the convo. How about last night, local high school basketball action? I took the over. No, I'm just joking. But CJ, a 63-61 buzzer-beating win over Wayne. George Washington III closed it out like this. So, by the way, if you want to see the video of the game winner, what a freaking shot. And you love seeing the student section just storming the floor. I love the energy of high school basketball games, man. I haven't really focused on anything high school basketball related yet because we've just been, right out of high school football. You go right into college football, right into the college football playoffs. The NFL's rapid. Basketball is about to be on the main stage right now, which is pretty exciting. But man, there's so much talent in this area.
Absolutely.
But CJ's real good. Wayne's really good. Centerville, they dominated. I think they blew out Springboro last night. I saw your godson plays, correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Reggie Powers?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's on the basketball teams, on the track teams, on the football team. And did I mention he has a 3.8 grade point average?
And then I feel bad for him because Coach Fickle just left him. I love Reggie, but I feel bad for him.
He got a lot of options on the table. A lot of options.
Better options now. Coach Fickle just up and left him. That's horrible.
Couple options out there. Stay tuned.
Is he going to go to Wisconsin? My bad, dude. Go play for Fickle at Wisconsin. I'll root for you at Wisconsin. It's all good. But yeah, really neat though. But yeah, I just retweeted the video. But what a shot last night again. CJ over Wayne, 63-61. George Washington hit the game winner. Might as well crossover, create separation, pull up.
Looking
left
like
wing,
you.
Bam. That looked like me with the Harlem Globetrotters. I'm glad to know that my game has been passed on to younger generations, Kev. There you go. Take notes.
Step back.
All right. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here. So, again, today's show, we've just been kind of trying to get a feel for how much leeway we're allowed to have as far as kind of get back into regular sports talk. Appreciate all the calls, the interaction, as far as, the Bengals and the Bills game for the other night. I knew that I'm like, well, at some point we're going to get to just talking about what's next as far as the outcome and the expectation for how to make that game up. We had Jay Morrison on the show yesterday. In fact, coming up in hour number 3 here, just around the corner, we'll have our conversation from Jay Morrison yesterday, who joined us just to kind of take us to Paycor Stadium and give us an idea of just how eerie it was in the stadium that night. And he had a, upfront, perception of everything because he was covering the game for The Athletic. He covers the Bengals for The Athletic as a regular on the show. And then we had Jason Fitz on as well, who he had his new show debut yesterday, Fitz and Harry. It's his new show. It was his very first day doing the new show. And if you guys know just how Jason is interacting with our show, he's a very bubbly, fun, big personality type of dude. And they weren't able to, by the way, no one's a victim in that situation, by the way, but it was, what a day to debut your show is to have that be the main storyline, of course. But we had both of them on yesterday, so we'll have that coming up in hour 3. That's for sure.
Yeah, we talked about it all weekend long. We were texting throughout New Year's Eve about the Michigan TCU game, talking about obviously the Ohio State Georgia game, getting all pumped up about the show on Tuesday that we're going to have. We'll be able to talk about that in the NFL. And then obviously the unfortunate incident happened on Monday, which kind of took the air out the balloon and had to reroute and, definitely pay homage and send well wishes out to the players up there in Buffalo and everything like that. And down obviously in Cincinnati. So, it was definitely a touchy subject and, we're trying to move forward, but still pay homage and respect.
Charles Mitchell says it's 2023 and the Browns are not in the playoffs. In your face, Kenner. Kev Nash runs Dayton.
Haven't heard that one in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Charlie's been too busy crying, boo-hooing. Yeah, the Browns are not in the playoffs. That's what happens when you don't have a starting quarterback for 11 weeks. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Charlie, take old Joseph Burrow off the Bengals. You think they're making the playoffs? And if they do, maybe he's not as good as you think.
He's locked and loaded.
I could spin this any way I need to. Old Charles, old Charlie. How about this one, Kev? I don't know. You mean watching that Tulane and USC game? Unbelievable game. The bowl games. I think bowl games, they're boring. I think the playoffs are usually boring. I think the build up to the play this year has been the total opposite. The bowl games have been fantastic. Great finishes, and the playoff games, although the results weren't what we wanted, both close down to the final possession. Anytime you talk about officiating dictating an outcome of a game, that usually means it was a good game because it was close enough for it to matter. You know, when we see some of these blowout games in the playoff, you're like, that's the number 4 team in the country. Ohio State getting blown out 31-0 against Clemson. That's the number 4 team in the country. But one of the best games I watched all bowl season so far has been that Tulane USC game. And big fan of that, Tyja Spears.
Yeah.
He just declared for the draft. So he'll be going there. And then who's the guy that looks like Sproles from Kansas State?
Oh, yeah.
Undersized running back. He looks like Sproles, man. Like he declared for the draft as well. There's going to be a lot of those guys are perfect for the NFL because they're undersized. They're not going to be guys that get a lot of, heavy carries, or maybe they develop into that. I mean, Sproles did, but I mean, with the type of offenses that run in the NFL, they're going to make
the
plays.
2-back system now. With the Steelers, you have Najee Harris and Warren, and obviously the biggest duo of running backs in the league is Zeke and Pollard. And, Pollard brings that elusiveness and that hands out of the backfield and that extra speed element, whereas Zeke is bringing that power and physicality. So those dudes will work perfect in the NFL. So I can't wait to see those guys in the league.
Charles Mitchell says, all the number 1 picks you had, and you never came close to Burrow. Could have had Big Ben, but too dumb for that. Dude, for one, I mean, you guys got Joe Burrow because y'all sucked. Like, what are you talking about? Y'all won 6 games in 2 years. You got rewarded. You're lucky to have Burrow. And by the way, y'all passed on Patrick Mahomes. How many guys did you pass on? I don't want to hear all that mess. My goodness.
Who's that talking to you?
Oh, Charlie.
Oh, Charlie?
Charlie.
Come on, Charlie. Be happy that your team is very, very good. And
Deuce Vaughn is that guy's name, by the way.
Deuce Vaughn. Yeah. I mean,
thanks, John.
Why do we need to talk about the Browns? Like, they're not in it. It's next year for them. Let's focus on the teams that are going to be in the playoffs or potentially in the playoffs, and focus on your team because they're real good and they could win this thing.
What Kev said. Kev Nash runs Dayton, Charlie. Listen to what he said.
And we could talk about the Steelers and their possibilities of making the playoffs with a terrible football team.
Yeah, and that's called having a coach too. That's called having a coach.
Please,
Jack, how are you, sir?
I'm fantastic, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, well, you can tell Charlie to stop, beating up on the Browns. Haven't we had it bad enough this year?
You want some mercy, huh?
No, I'll tell you what. Hey, we need a new play caller. I gave him a pass last year, but this year Kevin's got to have somebody calling the plays, the offensive plays.
Jack, my only argument with that is, and I remember when the Bengals were struggling and they were talking about, they need to move on from, from Zach Taylor because they can't stand the play calling. The Buckeyes are doing this conversation now with Ryan Day. He needs to give up the play calling. Ryan Day was hired by the Buckeyes because of his play calling, because of his offense, because of his offensive mind. Zach Taylor was hired by the Bengals because of his offensive mind, because of his play calling. And the same thing with Kevin Stefanski. And I'm of the belief that if you take that away from them, which was what got them this job in the first place, then there's no point in keeping them. Yeah. Look, I'm not at the fire Kevin Stefanski level yet, but I'm not defending his honor by any means. I think coaching was a big problem with the Browns this year, but they're going to have to make changes at defensive coordinator, move on from Joe Woods. I'm not on the fire Stefanski bandwagon yet, but I'm getting close. Next year, it's win or go home for Stefanski. That's for sure.
Now, I say don't fire him, but I just say have somebody else calling the plays,
No, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he would have to
But,
make that decision. I don't think Stefanski, the head coach, is all of a sudden gonna, he's too, and that's not just a him thing. That's all coaches. Ryan Day coming out and saying he's thinking of doing that. Kudos to him. I'll be impressed if he actually does it. But that's interesting. But Jack, I'm up against the time, my friend. I appreciate you calling.
Hey, thank you. Have a good New Year.
You too. Thank you. 518-1410. Let's go to Dick A. Dick A, how are you?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
How are you? Happy New Year.
Okay, how are you?
I'm good.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. The Browns looked like a championship team Sunday, didn't they?
They looked really good, Dickie. They looked really, really good.
Yep.
It was nice watching it was nice watching them win comfortably for once. I mean, my goodness.
Oh, yeah. And the defense looked good, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And look, a lot of that, I mean, see, I'm always at the point where when the Browns play well defensively, I'm negative and say, well, it's just the offense playing poor, but, is what it is. But no, I don't want them to start playing well defensively now because there's nothing to play for now. They were supposed to be doing that when the playoffs were on the line.
Yeah.
The Browns is the Browns.
The Browns are Browns, but, the thing of it is about, I went to, I think maybe we should honor, I think Ryan Day had a pretty good year, but Ohio State really, played them to the wire. And I don't know if they're rated. I think they're fourth, but I thought they had a pretty good year but they stayed neck and tuck with Georgia. Don't you think?
I'm right there all the way till the end, all the way up to the kicker. He went wide left,
Wide left. Yeah. And, another thing you were mentioning, I think they can make the play. I might watch them tonight. I get them on down here in Fox Sports. It's the Cavaliers look pretty good, don't they?
They've looked good all year. Donovan Mitchell's the real deal.
Yeah,
he's the real deal. I don't know what their ceiling is, but they're right there at the top with everyone else.
Hey, I wanted to tell you something real quick. I got to talk to Jimmy and Deron, and you know what Tony Grossi always says?
What?
I think Dick stays happy. He said, Dick's you're around. He said he's either he's cheerful, but you know what Jimmy said? Well, that's what we like, right?
Oh, you right in the room every time, Dickie. You always right in the show too when you call in. It was great hearing from you. We got to get moving.
Okay. Have a good day.
Later.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Hour 3 coming up. Our conversation with obviously Jay Morrison covers the Bengals. He takes us back, to kind of what went down, unfortunately, at Paycor Stadium the other day, and then also talking with him about what he thinks is going to happen. What is going to be the end result of how this, this Bengals and Bills makeup game is resolved, and if there is going to be a makeup game. We talked about that with Jay Morrison yesterday. We also had ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz on with us as well. That's all coming up next. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can find options that fit your budget, because giving you options is the right thing to do.
Oh yeah, like when I hold the door for someone. Sure, it may be weird if I don't time it right, and they're a little too far away, and now they're running. And we're both asking ourselves, is it worth it to run instead of just, letting them open their own door?
But still, it's the right thing to do. So get options based on your needs with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Spilled your milkshake? Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading Ordinary brand. So you can get back to your milkshake.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Bounty.